Welcome to another Straight Up Tuesday tip. I'm 𝗤𝘃𝗀𝗀𝗃, licensed agent with Second City Real Estate. With me, as always, is 𝗬𝘃𝗀𝗃, founder and owner of 𝗤𝘃𝗱𝗰. Mark, we have another Tuesday tip. Before we jump in, though, I'm going to steal your thunder and tell everyone to smash that subscribe button. I know that's your favorite thing. We're trying to get it to catch on here.
You got to smash that subscribe button
with an emphasis. I love it.
Yes.
All right. So today we got two just awesome heavy hitters in the Chicago area. Returning guest Noah Burke from episode 23. So one of the originals. You guys can go back and listen to it. A great episode covering the South Side of Chicago. And I can't believe it's taken this long to get 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 on the episode. And we got them both in the same room together. So we are more than excited to have you guys here. For our viewers, if you don't know, for whatever reason, sold 73 buildings last year. Since 2014, they have sold more apartment buildings than anyone else in the Chicagoland area. So we have the right people here to talk through how to survive in this competitive market. So
in the state of Illinois, man, in the state of Illinois,
in the world, we'll let it go. It's a podcast. We can say whatever we want.
Yep.
All right. So guys, you guys sell a ton of buildings. You've obviously built out a lot of relationships. And if I'm new, it's probably somewhat intimidating to come approach you saying, well, why would they even let me walk this property? So the question for you is, given that you have all these relationships, you're going to list the property, you have all these people you can turn to buy. If I'm new to the multifamily game and I'm looking to get my foot in, how can I get your attention? Can you walk us through just when someone new comes to you and they want to tour a property, they want to make an offer, give us a glimpse of what goes on in your head. What are you thinking so that person who's looking to buy can now put their best foot forward?
I would say, Tom, and that's first and foremost, we appreciate the kind words. Like you said, Mark, I think it extends a little bit past the state of Illinois. I think it does encompass the entire world. But this is something that we see fairly often. At any given time, we probably have a pipeline and inventory of 25 to 30 active buildings for sale, and we're always having a cycle of new buyers coming to us, making inquiries, wanting to see buildings and whatnot. And my suggestion and my one piece of advice is it's really all about honesty and transparency. We have a lot of guys who act like they're some big time buyer, they're on their high horse, and this is what they want. And you come to find out that they're really no one. Sometimes they might not even have two nickels to rub together. And if you don't, that's okay, right? Like, we have something for everyone. We can find something for everyone. And we have the team, and that's part of the next question, Tom. We have a team of basically everyone who you would need assistance with, whether it be property management, a mortgage broker, a lender that we can refer their way and help them with. But the first part of that question, I would say it's really all about transparency and honesty. Tell us about you, tell us about your background, tell us about what you're looking for, what you're looking to do, just so we can point you in the right direction and the best direction, just to avoid wasting your time, wasting the seller's time, wasting our time, and making sure that you get the best service that you deserve. So transparency and honesty, I would say, are the two most important things.
To piggyback on that a little bit, and first-time buyers probably don't want to hear this, but they kind of have to curb their expectations a little bit and understand that as a first-time buyer, you are not going to get the best deal in the market. You're not going to be the one that gets that first phone call and gets the steal of a deal. But what you can do is come in and get a deal. And once you get that first deal and you build credibility, then you start getting that call for the really good deals, and you start being on that broker's list of the top people that they call when they bring a building to the market. But to get to that point, it's all about building credibility. And so, like Aaron said, being very honest at the beginning. If you are a first-time buyer, just say, hey, listen, I'm a first-time buyer. I'm going to need a little bit of help here. And we're okay with that as brokers. We understand that everybody starts somewhere, and we're happy to walk you through the process and try to get you there. But in order to get past, some of these more experienced people, you have to separate yourself. The way that you typically do that at the beginning is you probably have to pay a little bit more than these other people. if you have a proof of funds, meaning if you have cash in the bank, mention it, show the brokers, start the conversation. Here's my money. Here's a picture of my Chase bank account. I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to make this thing happen, and make the broker's job as easy as possible to tell the seller that, hey, this person doesn't have a track record, but they've got money and they're ready to go.
What is the difference between the guy that gets the call first and the new person? Maybe what are the couple of, what makes you gravitate towards them, or what builds your confidence in that experienced person versus the newbie?
Well, it's so when we list a building, we usually tell the sellers, like, our process is we'll list the building in the first 5 days or so that we have the building listed. We're going to call all the usual suspects, all the people that have bought in the area in the past, all the people that we know have the ability to close. And we're going to say, hey, we're bringing this building out. Are you interested? And then I usually curb the seller's expectations and say, if you can agree to a deal with this person, if they can come to a price, you've got a really good chance of closing because they have a track record of closing already. But those people who are already in the market typically aren't the highest payers for the most part. It's typically, especially in today's market, it's typically new people coming in from other markets. So then it becomes a question of, does the seller want to go with the sure thing, or do they want to, go with something a little bit higher that has a little bit more risk of actually closing? And so that's kind of the back and forth that we typically have with the seller. But being that other entity in the equation, the new party, that's kind of, how you got to get your foot in the door, is be coming in a little bit higher, even though it's a higher risk for the seller of your ability to close versus somebody who has that experience.
Yeah. So Mark, it's really all about track record, right? Like if you bought 5 buildings, I'm sure you can buy a 6. If you're a buyer that everyone knows, or if you're a guy who owns 2 or 3 buildings, and you've solidified yourself as legitimate, there's like Noah said, a far higher chance and probability of you being able to get to the finish line versus a new buyer who might be able to close, might not be able to close. And Tom, this boils back to the first question. That's why it's best to be honest and transparent. Many times new buyers aren't, because they think that if they say what we want to hear, they'll be treated better, which isn't the case. It just kind of ends up, burning everyone at the end.
And what is that, and what that actually looks like for like a thing that we see all the time is we'll get somebody that calls us, and maybe we've got a great deal. It's clearly a great deal because we're getting hundreds of phone calls about the deal. And then somebody who doesn't have a track record, who we don't know, comes in and they talk a really good game. Hey, we're ready to close. We're ready to do this. We want X, Y, and Z. Let's make this happen. And then we say, awesome. Can you show us some buildings you've done in the past? And usually their comment is, I'm not going to show any addresses. I don't like to give that sort of information away. Okay, unusual response, but can you show us, some proof of funds, something that we can see that we can go back? Oh, I'm not going to show that money. And so from there, it's like we don't believe in you enough because you're not showing it to us that we can go to bat with you. And then unfortunately, even though you may have been somewhat real, you just kind of put yourself a step back for the next deal. Whereas, if you're coming in and saying, like, I'm new, this is the risk that's involved here for the seller if they choose to go with me, getting it all out in the open just creates a better environment, especially if you don't get that deal. It puts you in a position for the next deal because you've somewhat built a relationship with the broker where they understand what you're looking for and can help you get that first deal. And it's all about that first deal. Get the first deal, even if it's not a great deal, build the credibility, build the relationships, and then that next deal is when you start probably really making moves in the industry.
And at the end of the day, I mean, we are here to help you, and we are here to get you a building, right? And so what we ask for in return, and this is cliche, but help us help you guys.
Hey, nice
right?
work, Jerry.
Exactly. Like, you're not making our job any easier when we go to the seller and say, yeah, we have this guy who owns all these buildings. He's got all this money, but, he's got nothing to show for it. And like Noah said, like that, at the end of the day, that just puts you one step back, even if you might be real. So
Transparency. So all back to transparency. It seems like that's the theme here. So first time investor, newbie investor, maybe first time to larger building. That's we kind of talked about here, but now you add the layer of first time investor and out of state investor. What are some of the tips you would give an out of state newer investor that they have to just understand about coming into the Chicago market right away?
I would say, Mark, again, same kind of deal. This is a profile who we deal with day in and day out, and it requires a lot of hand-holding, a lot of coaching. And at the end of the day, if you listen to us, and I don't like saying this, but if you trust us and you take our suggestions, you take our advice and do what we suggest, then it increases your probability of getting a deal. Hey, you're a first-time buyer, you're out of state. Okay, these are the steps you need to take. Do you have a lender lined up? Here are 3 people you want to talk to. Have you identified a property manager? Here are a few people you want to talk to. And our job here, in addition to holding you and coaching you and kind of, leading you in the right direction, we're also trying to equip you with the right team, just to not only ensure that you can buy the building, but then once you do buy it, everything goes well and everything is falling into place the way you thought.
If you're an out-of-state investor and you have a track record in another state, when you make that first phone call, the best thing you can do when you're talking to the broker is immediately jump into who you are, what your history is, and what your track record looks like. Build that credibility as quickly as possible with the broker, because the broker, the first time you call them, all they're going to be trying to get out of you is that track record. They're going to say, oh, is this your first building? It's your first building in Chicago. Do you own anything otherwhere? And we will ask a bunch of leading questions trying to get the buyer to open up as much as they can. So if you are that buyer, just jump right in and say, hey, I'm from New York. Most of our buildings are in New York. We've done 15 deals out there. The market's tough now, so we're looking at Chicago. We don't know it super well yet, but we're ready to make a move and go from there. These are some addresses we own. Boom, that helps us as a broker. We can start looking it up. They build the credibility, and we say, great, this is somebody who at least, has the experience already. So that's helpful. Tell people exactly what you've got. And, you're competing with all these other buyers. So you got to make yourself look as good as possible on the phone or in an email.
And at the same time, Noah, if you are a new buyer without a track record out of state, then I think it really goes back to what I was suggesting. Hey, here's a lender you want to talk to. Hey, here's a property manager. Maybe you can have them walk the site as well, just so you can get an unbiased opinion, other than, ours, for example, which I don't think are biased in one way, shape, or form, but, get someone else's opinion just to back up what we're saying, and just make sure you like it. And then from there, Mark, if a new buyer is unable to do that, if they don't want to do that, that's just really a red flag for us. And similar to, the last question, it really, again, you might be real, but it puts you one step back.
So if I'm coming to you guys, I'm going to bring almost a pseudo resume. and I say that laughing, but it's serious. Like if I'm going to approach you guys, I'm going to give you addresses. If I have pictures, maybe even give you pictures of my buildings to make it easier, save you on your due diligence. And then come with you of my network. Here, I got a lender. I'm going to need an attorney because this is a 2-attorney state. Where I'm from, it's not. And then I have this and this. And if anything, just kind of lay it out to get into, make sure I'm real. And I guess maybe if I was even really thinking this through and presented it to someone like you guys, I might even come with a small kind of business model of what I'm trying to accomplish with purchasing X amount of units, and you have your forecast with your kind of your financial model built out, share it with you guys so I'm real.
Yeah, definitely. You want to just show that you put in some effort, especially going back to the people who haven't done this, who don't have the track record yet. Show that you've put in some effort, that you've done some research, that if you're looking, we sell buildings on the south side of Chicago. If you're looking at South Shore, say, hey, I saw this building. I'm interested in the areas between 67th and 71st. From my research, I've seen that those areas are X, Y, and Z, and whatever you've concluded. It shows the broker that, okay, this person has at least invested some time, even though they may not have the money in yet, that they are not somebody who's just going around clicking on LoopNet on every single thing looking for a broker that will return their phone call, which we often get as well. We'll get, one person looking through every single thing that we have at once. And then that's usually a red flag because they obviously they don't have their,
their criteria is so wide.
Yeah.
Guys, great stuff. Just a ton of good information. Whether you're new or not, this is one to go back and listen to again. Really appreciate the time. Before we wrap, we have our Chicago fact. Now, Mark, I think you can do this one. And I know Noah, and this is one I think Noah and Aaron will definitely get. So you guys got to be quiet for a second. Let Mark try to answer. So you just mentioned South Shore. Mark, the South Shore community officially runs from 67th down to this corridor as its southern border. Which quarter?
You're saying how far South Shore?
Where does South Shore officially end? What street? On the southern side. This is according to Wikipedia as well.
I would say 79th.
Aaron and Noah, do you agree with that answer?
I too would say 79th.
79th is correct. Nice work, Mark.
All right.
No multiple choice.
I was going to push it maybe a block south to 80th, including like the 7920s, 7950s.
Yeah, I mean,
you're a broker. You'll advertise that as South Shore.
Just like in tennis, the line counts, right? The tie goes to the runner. I think 79th up to 80th is.
Well, South Shore Hospital is like on 82nd or something, right?
I see people that from down like in the bush down there, like on the 83rd and like South Shore, like they say that's South Shore all the time. I always see that for that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're brokers. We basically make up neighborhoods sometimes, make them sound good, and
South Shore adjacent.
Nice picture.
You always hear it depends if you're selling or you're buying. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. Thanks for coming on here. Tom, thanks as always. Listeners, please go to our Facebook group and sign up. And if you have available properties, pop them on there. If you're looking for properties, let the rest of the group know that you're interested. We have over 1,100 people on there now. So if you're looking for resources, vendors, brokers, property managers, whatever you're looking for, check us out on there. So thank you guys again. And we will see you guys Thursday.
Thanks all. Good stuff.
All right, fellas. Good talking to you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it. Good stuff.
You guys.